Personal statement is most commonly used by UCAS. If you're applying to the UK, you need a personal statement. Although I have heard rumors that they're going to scrape it and they're going to replace it with 6 questions, which I don't know what to feel about that, but hopefully they haven't scraped it by the time that I film this video, because if not, it will be completely useless. I've heard all your requests. Don't worry. I actually even heard it the first time, but I guess I didn't really have the time. Well, after my previous Sunway video, I have received lots of requests on how to compose a personal statement, particularly a good one, because who wants a bad personal statement? After being in university for 2 years, the memory of the feverish A-level application days have slowly been fading away from my memory, and thank God for that. For some of you, you guys are sadly still in that phase, and I'm really sorry. I feel for you with all my soul. For the fear that the memory of my gruesome A-level application days will be long gone, that is a lie. I am not fearing it. I want it to be gone, erased from my memory completely. It was a torture. So today I will be reliving my A-level days for you guys, having my personal statement brutally picked apart, to which you can only smile and say, I will work on it, when you know indeed you have a big ego and you will not work on it. So yeah, let's move on to the video. According to UCAS and probably other university admissions as well, personal statement's basically a statement about you. It's an essay about you, what are your interests, what do you like, and it's basically an essay persuading a university of your choice to give you a spot. How fun is that? It's basically your only form of communication with the universities, for you to communicate with the university and persuade them why you should be accepted or offered a place in the uni. What is the big hoo-ha surrounding a personal statement? Before I even started my A-levels, you already heard about the personal statement just plagues your entire A-level journey, and people have so many opinions in their personal statements. Some start 1 year before, some start 2 weeks before the application deadline, which you should never do. But a personal statement is important because it is the only piece of information that you're submitting to the university that shows your character. It is the key piece of evidence that they will use to distinguish you with other candidates. And if you're applying to a really popular school, you know, high up on the QS rankings, everyone is going to have the grades, and it makes people indistinguishable. I guess now that I think about it, the States is actually a bit more fair because they take into consideration your extracurricular activities as well. But if you're applying to the UK, you know, they're old-fashioned. They only care about your academics. And a stack of applications filled of the top students from different colleges, that key judgment lies in your personal statement. The universities place a lot of importance on that because they want people who are able to fit in their course, perform academically well in that kind of environment. With A-levels nowadays, you kind of get desensitized with the amount of A-stars that people get because people are so smart now. I have no idea how they do it. Doesn't matter if you're a full A-star student, a predicted full A-star student, if you show no interest, if you have no passion in the course that you're studying, you got a shit personal statement, keep in mind that the value of your application will probably go down, as opposed to someone with good predicted grades like A's and A-stars. If they are able to produce a really well-written, concise personal statement, I think that could even potentially compete with the people that are performing really, really well. Even for me, I did not apply with full A-stars. I think I only had 2 or 3 predicted A-stars, and then my rest were A's, and I turned out fine. I am the kind of person that suffers from severe writer's block. I can only start writing when I have the feverish surge of inspiration that paralyzes me to the point that I can't do anything else, and then I'll sit on my laptop and just vomit everything that I can possibly put on. 我头脑想到什么东西我就呕出来. Not really the most efficient person, I would say, but at least I get things done. you need to start off with a solid plan. You need to structure how the personal statement is going to flow. Fine if you do not know what you want to write at first, because as I said, it's ironic to put your entire existence and why you like the course or why you like a certain industry into a piece of paper that's only about 1,000 words. I think it's 1,000. I mean, I don't even remember how much it was. Okay, it's not even 1,000 words. It's 700, I think, or something, or 750. Just keep in mind that you need to slowly begin to filter and structure things as you go on. I tend to start a bit later than people. People will usually start maybe like 4 months, half a year before. I will be the person that probably starts maybe a month later. I'm kind of slow, and so I kind of lag behind because I need time to compile my thoughts. One of the best ways is to get inspiration from different sources, read books, talk to people, and sometimes when you're so lost, you just need to see how a personal statement is even written. How do people gather their ideas and sort of condense them to make it palatable to the reader? Getting personal statements of people you know, if they're willing to share, start reading books relating to what you're supposed to write. But the thing about books, everyone has a really crazy obsession with books and personal statements. And for me, unless you really have the time, it's not really worth it dedicating all that extra time you could use to be studying to write the personal statement. Just by seeing how the author sort of writes and transforms his thoughts into words, I think that's really valuable on how to get the brain going, because a lot of the times we already are filled with great ideas, but we just don't know how to put that into pen and paper, or in this case, a Word document. So once you start brainstorming your ideas, you've already got a good sense of how people start to write. That's when you can start writing. I would recommend just sitting down on your desk, sit on a place where you can concentrate, just open your laptop, open a Google Doc, Word doc, whatever you like. If you were writing it in a goofy font like Comic Sans, would you be serious? No. Hence my theory. Literally write everything that you can. It doesn't matter if it doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter if it's incoherent. You need to start somewhere, and by slowly honing in the skill of transforming your thoughts into words, that will be really beneficial in kickstarting the process. So oftentimes we are afraid of judging. Oh my god, this is shit. I'm just babbling stuff. I'm writing this incoherent Word doc. But that is really, really important. Do not be afraid. Be comfortable. These are your thoughts. These are your hobbies. These are your interests. And why shouldn't a university accept you if you are so passionate in a subject? You will definitely have the opportunity to be a student. And I don't think that anyone should deny you that opportunity if you're willing to put in the work. Another thing I want to talk about, personal statements being research papers. It is quite a controversial topic because I've seen quite a lot of people get into Oxbridge with this way. I don't think that's a really good idea because it is a very niche sort of taste. So most universities don't really like this because, and some universities even specify to not make it a research paper because they want to know about you. While I do understand that you definitely have vast knowledge in the topic that you're studying or the course, and you want to show that to impress the people who are gonna give you a spot. I understand that, that's fine. I think that there's an appropriate time to show off your knowledge, and there is an appropriate time to introduce yourself. I think it should be a balance of both. It should be you and the course, not just the knowledge on the course itself. Because like what I said, anyone can produce a research paper. They need to understand where you're coming from, need to understand your passions and your interests to be able to offer you a spot. Your knowledge in the course is not your only asset. You have brilliant ideas and you are much more than just the sort of academic aspect of it. Let your personality shine through, do not worry. if you're planning on making your personal statement in a research paper, it is quite risky. Definitely talk it out with your mentors, your teachers, previous people who have applied to the university that you're applying to, and just get their 2 cents. And you can analyze it yourself. You can talk to like 10 people. And if 10 people say, nah, it's not really the best way to go, then girl, you know that that's not really the best way to go. He basically told us about the thalidomide tragedy and how it resulted in a lot of deformed babies, and how just the difference in the stereoisomer, so in different isomer forms, would have such drastic changes. One was used as an anesthetic and one caused severe deformities in babies. And I was sitting there and I was like, that's actually a good thing to include in my personal statement. You need to immerse yourself in this sort of mindset that you're constantly looking for inspiration. I have developed an Oppenheimer analogy when it comes to viewing the world differently to help your personal statement. Don't watch this if you don't want any spoilers. If you watch the movie, you see how in the beginning Oppenheimer is sort of depressed, and even by viewing near raindrops, he sees beyond that. He sees the particles, he sees the vibration, he sees the waves, and that information sort of haunts him. That is exactly what you want to do. Don't worry, it will only haunt you for a bit, because we're all normal people and we're not Oppenheimer and we're not geniuses. So I wasn't just sitting around there putting my legs up on the table. I was actually constantly finding for inspiration. View the world through your passions, your course, so that you're able to channel the people and the sort of things that they think about, like how your lecturers think. They're experts in their field. So by sort of channeling that, you kind of see the world differently and you're able to get more inspiration. A good personal statement is sort of like a story with the initial fascination, how it grows into something, how you work from that passion or that seed of motivation that's planted inside of you, and the knowledge that you gain. The first sentence was a sentence compelling enough to draw the reader in. I wrote, "My first glimpse into biochemistry was through a miracle drug used to alleviate morning sickness in 1950s. So I immediately established a start point as to how my interest in biochemistry developed from the initial fascination with thalidomide. Most of the time, if you were to quote a book or something, you would only write a maximum of 2 to 3 sentences in a personal statement. Tragically, it resulted in the worst pharmaceutical disaster in history, as quoted by Peter Gordon. I continued to link it on and say this fiasco, known as the thalidomide tragedy, exposed me to the dire consequences of pharmaceutical negligence. This is sort of a bridging statement that bridges my knowledge for the thalidomide and how, for me, that exposed to me the dire consequences of pharmaceutical negligence. Sympathize with the victims who sought better health and medication, only to suffer unimaginable deformities. Then I proceeded to follow up with eager to understand. I tried but failed to grasp how thalidomide could cause such harm, because I obviously did not have the knowledge equipped to understand this fancy chemistry, stereoisomerism. So it was this failure that prompted me to delve into the world of science for answers, which unearthed my passion for biochemistry. I hope you get what I mean by a story-based approach, because a multifaceted approach that shows you the different dimensions of the story, which if you were to take a research paper approach, you will only get a sort of one-dimensional, this is what I know, this is what you get. After my failure prompted me to delve into the world of science for answers, that showed my passion, and it shows how I'm constantly curious, constantly wanting to find answers, and that is an extremely important scientific discipline. I began picking up concepts from immunology, stereoisomerism, and toxicology to understand how thalidomide affected the fetal development. How did one motive propel the next motive and the next set of action? So in this effort, while I was learning that, I realized the virtue of applying scientific knowledge in daily life to make more informed decisions. What once started as curiosity for something that I did not comprehend, suddenly you can see it begin to manifest into the virtue of applying scientific knowledge in daily life to make more informed decisions. Hence, I started applying newly learned concepts in selecting medications for my eczema condition. The second paragraph It's me basically deepening and building upon knowledge that I already have, and how did I apply the knowledge that I got, using it to understand my condition of eczema a bit better. A renewed understanding of my condition led me to discover a greater aim in my pursuit of biochemistry, to pioneer research on safe, innovative formulations for cosmeceuticals and topical medications. When I was writing this personal statement, I really wanted to include my fascination for skincare. I do think that you should write whatever you're passionate at the moment, because that will leave the most profound impression on the reader, because when you're in it and you like it, you tend to write really well about it. According to Andy Links, presumed drug safety is one of the most prevailing causes of pharmaceutical malpractice. As such, I am determined to foster proper drug use with cosmeceuticals and pharmaceuticals through research in various aspects of biochemistry. This mini research inspires me to develop my own skincare line in the future, in which I hope to incorporate ingredients from my personal array of favorites, such as niacinamide and alpha-arbutin. All this knowledge, what are you gonna do about it? Having this knowledge in biochemistry would really help develop some sort of great top-notch formulas that the industry hasn't seen before. Attending a biosciences webinar, I was introduced to iPSC technology, which is induced pluripotent stem cell technology, and CRISPR-based COVID-19 therapy, both fields of research other than skincare I intend on joining, as I believe in gene alteration to combat the novel coronavirus. With my current knowledge now, obviously, I think I could maybe elaborating more on the iPSC and CRISPR-based COVID-19 therapy, because skincare is a very niche topic. So expanding it and showing that your interests are not just in one field, choose a few topics that you're really interested in, and then include it in your personal statement. Because if you include too much, it gets a bit messy, your statement loses direction. So you want to make sure that everything flows coherently. Beyond biochemistry, I have a broad set of interests ranging from science to humanities. My admiration for English literature led me to take it up as an extra subject, which served as an avenue for my creative expression. A really good advice that I picked up from a senior is that every time you write something, you always need to ask yourself, why? A person is reading and they constantly have to answer the questions they have for you in their brain. Ideas are underdeveloped. This would be quite dangerous. So make sure all your ideas are well developed by always asking why and following up with an explanation. The experiences broadened my horizons by exposing me to various societal affairs and made me have a firm stance on these issues. By exposing myself to various societal affairs, I'm able to, improve my knowledge and gain a more sort of multifaceted perspective to a situation, especially for dealing things with science. There are a lot of ethical concerns. By showing that you can consider all these factors, that makes you a really well-rounded person. My initial fascination with biochemistry has since grown into a passion for it and an aspiration to develop my skincare line. I'm driven to utilize the knowledge that I acquire from a biochemistry degree to deliver the information necessary in providing a safe consumer experience with cosmeceuticals, as I believe everyone deserves a trustworthy experience with the world of medicine. If I were to rewrite it, I would focus it more on healthcare, because I think that's more relevant to my degree. Overall, I would rate this personal statement a 7.5 to 8. Like, we tend to look back at our old creations and cringe a lot. It's like, oh my god, it's not even that good. But sometimes we do need to give ourselves a pat on the shoulder and give credit where credit was due. And I think given the situation back then, I really did package all my best parts and shipped it off to the university in the form of a personal statement document. Always ask for feedback. When you've been looking at this script, you've been editing and re-editing, you've been staring at it for weeks and weeks. Sometimes it's quite difficult to get an objective perspective once you're in it. Always assume that you're teaching stuff to a beginner, so you must always assume that the person knows nothing about it. Scrape out ideas that are irrelevant, because that doesn't add anything to your personal statement. It's a tough call, but I'm sure that you'll be able to meet the call. We start talking in really bombastic, flowery language, but sometimes all that's not necessary. Real simple, concise, straight to the point, impactful language, that is what's going to get you to where you are. So you use bombastic phrases for the sake of using bombastic phrases, and it just messes up the flow of your writing so badly. So don't do that. The last thing that I want to say is that do not worry about making it perfect on the first time. The thing about writing is that the more you write, the more inspiration you will get. It's okay. I feel that you'll be fine. It will all turn out okay. And if you have any questions, you can leave it down in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them. But yes, I hope that you've enjoyed this video. I hope that you thoroughly enjoyed it, and yeah, bye! I don't even remember when was the last time I read my personal thing.